Welcome to
Yay!
episode 6 of the Year of the Fire Hose.
Hello, everyone. Great to be back.
Yeah, every time from a new world location. And
Yes.
then new moon in Cancer. We will cover some themes about permanence slash impermanence of human relationships, how we connect and nurture ourselves through relationship, the challenges and dramas and shadows that can come up in that. And what
Mm,
other amazing points do we have on store?
well, I mean, definitely the drama. You already mentioned it, but we love the drama. And also the mind, and I don't want to say versus the body, but the relationship between the mind and the body. When the mind is saying one thing and the body feels something different, or vice versa. And that's something that we want to explore in the context of drama, of course.
Drama in relationships. Drama as
Yes.
in conflict that arises in relationship, and it can lead us down the same old route of disconnection, or we can kinkify, gamify the drama and turn it into like the shadow work existential kink that we love that leads back to repair and connection.
Yes. And it refers beautifully to, yeah, as you mentioned, the existential kink, that the exercise where I was the seeker and Irene was my priestess. And yeah, what happened like recently to me that we're going to explore is just such a beautiful example of what happened then. And yeah, I caught myself in the moment. And yeah, it's just I love, yeah, bottom line, we love existential kink, we love kinkifying and gamifying our shadows and the drama. So yeah, welcome.
Yeah, and the thing is that this archetype of Cancer, and again, exploring zodiac signs as archetypes that we all carry to some extent or another. Cancer is the archetype of the mother, the nurturing feminine, and the emotional self, emotional intimacy, intimacy through emotional connection. And we were just saying in our prep talk that, especially for people who grew up in emotionally chaotic or unstable environments, emotional intensity through drama feels familiar. And emotional stability can even feel boring. And the body can even reject that as unfamiliar, while also maybe staying attached to that in weird ways, because that's the thing with that growing up with disorganized attachment does to your system, that you keep
Hmm.
replicating that till you interrupt the pattern and make a different choice. And it's really interesting what you were saying about like the body mind or body sorry thinking feeling dichotomy between intellect and emotion, and how actually we can get those two to work together in synergy, in harmony, instead of fighting each other, and to be able to use our emotions as useful input to improve our life conditions and relationships. Because, yeah, archetype of Cancer is a wonderful one, but the risk is to overdo emotion and to stay attached to drama. And we also have, by the way, Mercury retrograde in Cancer at the moment, which means there's a collective and definitely individual, or here is the theme for us that I'm sure our listeners will be able to resonate as well. A review of how we connect and nurture ourselves and each other emotionally in relationship. So it's like
Mm.
ghosts from the past or shadows from the past showing up, knocking at our door and showing us where we are still attached to drama. And then it's up to us
Mm.
to make new, better choices.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I mentioned just now like our existential kink exercise, and for me, what you revealed for me was exactly what you were just saying, that drama because of my somewhat unstable upbringing as a child. Drama and chaos and instability just felt safe in a way. Like that's just how I grew up. Yeah, that's what felt good. And also, I knew that by creating drama, I could get attention. And that was something that I was missing at the time. And I just wanted to get attention. So, creating drama, really great for getting attention. Whether it's the kind of attention that in the end you want and that's nourishing you, to be debated, but at least it's giving you, yeah, what you crave in that moment. Or at least part of me craved that attention. So um, yeah, that came up for me very strongly this week when I caught myself wanting to create drama. And to cut a really like long story a little bit short, was that me and my partner had agreed to, yeah, go on like a kind of not a rafting ride, but like it's in German, it's Sommerrodeln. It's like a summer sledge thing, and it was quite important to me. I used to do it as a child, and I was very excited to do it. And so we went there just before closing time, and there was part of me that said, I really hope they are already closed so I can blame him for not getting what I want. So I and yeah, ugh,
Mm,
oof.
juicy.
And I caught myself in that, yeah, I caught myself with that thought, and I was like appalled and repulsed by that thought, and I was like, whoa, where is that coming from? So I also blamed myself, beat myself up a little bit internally, as you do, you know. Um, and yeah, just like the reflection of that was, and my body actually, just to finish on that, my body felt like very calm and actually excited to go on this ride that I've been wanting to do. And yeah, my mind wanted to create drama. My mind wanted to create an argument to get attention, to finally be able to say the things that, oh, part of me had felt, yeah, like, creating like an argument in order to be able to shoot things at your partner that
Mhm.
maybe you had felt a little bit resentment had built up and there wasn't a good moment to bring it up. So I wanted to create drama to be able to have an argument, to be able to finally say these things and like
Mm.
say them in an unhealthy way, I think. Because there's part of me that felt, oh, this injustice has happened and I need to recreate justice and equality by bringing him down to my level of consciousness, which was pretty low at that point.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, drama to create attention, drama to create stability, because my
Mm.
mind sometimes equates drama with stability, and
Mhm.
also to create an opportunity to release what was, yeah, like the negative emotions and some of the resentment that had built that I had not kinkified before or gamified before.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, that was very interesting to observe how my mind wanted to, yeah, manipulate in a way, the relationship that I'm in. Oof,
Mm.
yeah, that felt really cool.
Wow. Thanks for sharing that. So the thing is that, yeah, we were saying it before, sometimes we're just thinking thoughts that are very old. Maybe they're not even ours. Maybe
Mm,
they come from, our parents, our conditioning, society, whatever. And it can still be useful when you catch them, when you catch the shadow red-handed on the spot, like you did, and you find that there's still like there's an unmet need there. So there's some intelligence.
mm-hmm,
So like that part of you wanted you to speak up because resentment had been building up inside of you, and it was sort of the last straw. and it
Mm,
wanted you to speak up in an unhealthy way, whatever, because that was a familiar strategy from the past.
mm-hmm.
But then, did you actually do that?
Speak up, you mean?
Like, yeah, how, what do you do with that? Because for me, it's
Yeah,
not, it's what you do with it, right?
yeah. I mean, we did have an argument where I said some things in an unhealthy way. Um, and then we went to regulate, like by a lake, and that was just very helpful to each do our own thing that we need to regulate. And then to, yeah, get back in the evening, and we have like a specific process, a protocol of like conflict resolution, and then we just went into that in the evening, and yeah, just doing self-reflection and sharing the intention and the impact, and just trying to understand the other person's perspective more and where things are coming from. um, but yeah, I do have to say that saying things out loud, like with you and even in this podcast, is like still processing, and new things just came up that I hadn't realized about this. Oh, wow, I think I had wanted to create drama, so I was able to shoot things at him. And I did do that as well, which I'm not proud of, but it happened. And yeah, that just came to me. And I was telling you in the prep talk what had happened. And that was not something that came up, and that just came up in the recording when I was like, ooh, that feels true to me. That's why I
Mhm.
wanted to create drama too. Um,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing that. So one of my favorite quotes also from Existential King is that truth is sensational. You feel in your body when something is true, and then it stops the mind for a moment. Like, oh my God, that feels true in the body, and then you just know. So for me, that's intuition. It's sort of the union of
Mm-hmm.
body and mind. It's a felt truth that the mind cannot deny, where mind and body have to
Mm-hmm.
agree. And that creates the sort of pattern interrupt when you can ask the right questions and go down to the truth that
Mm-hmm.
reconciles the different parts. So yeah, it's just so interesting what you say, because it makes me think of also the new relationship I'm exploring and how I got there, and the stories we were sharing also in the prep talk, where I was dating someone, or I thought I was dating someone. He wasn't so sure, apparently, at some point. And this was the fuckboy final boss that represented a pattern of leaking sexual energy from my past and wanting others to choose me, but then the fuckboy guys that were not ready to commit would not choose me, and I would take that as a sign of my own unworthiness and my own inability to be chosen or be enough. And at some point, I just got tired of it. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like when this fuckboy guy came to me and he was trying to, not consciously, not in a bad way, but behaving in a way that was a bit gaslighting my emotions. And when I was questioning his behavior, he was just deflecting and questioning me back, trying to mansplain my emotions to me, stuff like that. And then in my mind, I just wanted to sort of convince him to love me. But my body was a bit rejecting his touch. So we were also speaking about how the body
Mm-hmm.
speaks a language that is more instinctive and very often more intuitive than the mind can grasp. So the mind was like, something is off, I don't understand why. And my body was like, don't fucking touch me.
Mm-hmm.
Even before, yeah, even before I could understand why. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's just connecting the two, right? Helping the body and the mind catch up with each other. And aligning that with also like a higher purpose and a higher self vision we have for ourselves. So making a conscious choice to do something different and new with the old mental, emotional patterns that we had. And like what you were saying, you have a protocol for that in your relationship, and that's amazing. For me, yeah, I also have several protocols. But yeah, when you're in an established relationship, it can be easier when you're getting to know someone, like I was with a fuckboy person, and now I am with someone who is actually ready for commitment. uh,
Hmm. Juicy.
yeah, let's see how that turns out because it's permanence slash impermanence, right? And many times,
Mm-hmm.
like the source of all the conflict is that we are mistaking, like, or conflating something that happened in the past for like the truth,
Mm.
or thinking because this went wrong one time, it's just how things are. So making something impermanent permanent, or also,
Yeah.
fixating too much that we need this relationship to work out, and then putting too much effort into making things right, uh,
Mm.
when it's just maybe not meant to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for me, like the contrast of seeing like how with certain people we feel like that mismatch of energy in the body and the mind and conflict around them, or unclear energy signal around them,
Mm.
uh, and then with other people or in other relationships we feel so much safety and clarity and stability. And that's been for me the new thing now, that after a while of like dating a couple of people, being back in Europe, dating a couple of people, and now exploring relationship again. After 4 months, I was like, oh, I want a relationship. I want a relationship. Now the thing is here, and I'm freaking out.
Mm. Yep. I mean, I feel you. Um, and that's something that you mirrored back at me in the existential kink as well, when you were like, are you turned on by drama by any chance? Because it feels like safer and is actually what in your body feels less safe is intimacy and commitment. And wow. And exactly as you said, in that moment, I felt that to be true. And I just kind of knew, yes, what my body just heard, yeah, that's the truth.
Hmm.
So I feel you, and the
Hmm.
yeah, commitment and intimacy is scary, and it feels much easier to push the other person away. And yeah, and at the same time, I do agree with what you were saying. Romantic relationships, like friendship, uh, may not necessarily be meant to be forever. Maybe one person is just coming into your life to teach you something or to show you something, and you are meant to teach them something. They're not meant to be permanent necessarily. So I think that that's also something very important to like anchor in our bodies, that even romantic relationships may not be, or often are not permanent, and that's okay too. Just like you may outgrow a friend, you may outgrow a partner, and this like need to make it work is not healthy. But it's also very difficult because society tells us, you need to find the one, as opposed to saying you need to find the one for your version right now, um, and for who you are in this moment. And you're the one might be someone different next year when you have grown and evolved. Um, but yeah, I do see the challenge in accepting that, relationships are not necessarily meant forever. Some work out that way, but some do not. And yeah, I was reflecting on why is it easier for us to accept friendships don't last, but not so much when we meet someone. and we attach to them romantically.
Hmm. Well, like you were saying, a bit of that is societal conditioning.
Sure.
And there's also like a biological or human component, which is as soon as you activate sexual energy, your deepest traumas, attachment, and you know, where your sense of self came from, which is mommy and daddy,
Hmm.
uh, gets yeah activated and triggered, and you get to the root of your humanity.
Very true. Wow, beautiful.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Which is amazing because it's like a shortcut. It can be used as a shortcut to evolution and enlightenment, but it takes two to tango. So, like right now, I'm really grateful for this new person in my life because he's also a Buddhist practitioner.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we speak the same language. He's into Zen Buddhism, I'm into Vajrayana. It's a bit different, but uh, like we both know that duality and non-duality, are something we sort of came here to master.
Mm.
And that, like, the secret of it all for me is to be fully present. Like, I was thinking about you when we were having fun this morning doing our tantric practices. And that sentence from Margot Anand, be desireless at the height of desire.
Mm. Hmm.
So, like, allow yourself to feel all the human longing for depth and intimacy and connection and to enjoy the shit out of it because it's
Hmm.
juicy as fuck, right?
Yeah, it really is. And I mean, she's also saying, and I think she's not the only one, obviously, but the only time to be alive is the present moment. That's all you have. Everything else is like an illusion and has already happened. So that's why I also enjoy the arguments in a weird way, because they teach me something about human emotions, and they teach me like how can I get closer to another person if that's the desire, or respect my own boundaries and my own intuition and move away from that person and be like, okay, no, this person is not for me.
Yes.
Um, um,
And that's
yeah.
a dance. It's an ongoing balancing exercise back and forth, even when you do agree to be in a relationship with someone and it happens that you stay together for even your whole lifetime, whatever, uh, you will still need sometimes of connection, sometimes of distance, to build up strategies for repair, and to know that, yeah, be fully present, enjoy it all, but don't be
Hmm.
attached to anything because it could all end at any
Yes.
given moment. You never know.
Yes. And I just finished Margot Anand's biography.
Mm.
And yeah, it's a really great read, like strongly recommended. And yeah, in it, like she also mentions like many of the lovers that she had, and that she also grew attached to some of them. And then when they split up, she also felt jealousy actually.
Mhm.
And she also felt like, yeah, sadness and grief when attachments broke. And even though from my point of view she's one of the great like enlighten masters, mistresses of being not attached, and even someone like that can feel sadness and grief, and like wounds come up when attachment is disentangled, or relationships break up for whatever reason. And I think that's whew, yeah, that's also kind of beautiful. And I think you said it very well. Welcome to humanity. Welcome to feeling being human. And yeah, I notice in myself how often I beat myself up when I feel something. I'm like, oh, I shouldn't feel this. And why am I feeling this? And yeah, just take it easy and don't be so hard on myself. I'm talking to myself now. And yeah, just welcome it all as part of being human. And that's doesn't mean I don't want to grow and evolve and look at my shadows and my traumas, but also be gentle when something arises. And yeah.
Totally. I'm learning a lot about soft strength with
Mm,
this new person in my life because I realized like I used to associate masculinity with more like strength, not so much softness. But now, like all this whole thing, this whole fuckboy drama thingy that I had, which was cut short pretty much because, yeah, I finally realized I have boundaries. Like I am the man of my own life. Uh, After the PhD graduation with you in Florence, when I was there with my mother, and my mother was expressing her, sadness for my father not being there, and
mm,
for my father becoming a doctor of philosophy was one of his goals or dreams when he was alive. So it felt good to honor him in that and to also be like, yeah, actually, I grew up without a father. Like, my mother did a lot of work, but I also recognize that the father figure is in myself and is very strong because I had to develop it since a young age. It's just about becoming conscious of it. Like, yeah, I can father myself. I am the man of my own life. And therefore, I'm only gonna allow in because the thing is, in society, how genders have been represented and conditioned, women are mostly about allowing and being receptive. That's also a bit more the yin energy, and men are
mm,
about being penetrant and going for it, and also setting boundaries.
mm,
So you were, for instance, saying before that um, you felt resentment in your relationship because more often than not, whenever you felt like maybe, I'm not sure if I want to do this, that you turn your maybe into a yes.
yes.
That's what women were conditioned to do in our society, to turn
Mm-hmm.
maybes into yeses, whereas men would be more often than not turning maybes into nos. So stronger boundaries. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, like integrating this masculine energy and being at my PhD graduation without my father and realizing I'm the man of my life, and if this fuck boy or whoever man comes into my field and they cannot deliver like according to the expectations and the very high standards that I have,
Mm,
the best thing I can do is to lovingly say goodbye, um,
mm-hmm.
to set that boundary and be like, I'm not available for this drama anymore. Then something
Mm,
better can come through. But then you meet the resistance of the next level because, yeah, having is evidence of wanting unconsciously. And then you become conscious of, like, oh my God, this shadow. And then you integrate it. So in my case, it was the fuck boy shadow. And I'm like, okay, now I want to be a mature masculine for myself. Then a mature masculine shows up with this soft strength integrated in the yin and the yang.
mm-hmm.
And that's when I started freaking out because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I finally got what I wanted. That's what the ego does, right? The inner child, like when you were showing up for the thing that you wanted to do, and a part of you was like, I hope it's closed so that I can throw a tantrum.
So true. Yeah.
For me, it's like, oh, I've been asking like the universe for a partner for a long time, and now I finally deliver someone appropriate. And I'm looking for all the reasons why this is not working, and why, like, reasons to run away, which is also, there's intelligence in that because it's like
Absolutely.
the resistance is there to protect you. So, okay, what are the unmet needs here? And in my case, it was like I needed to feel seen in some parts of me that had been very ignored and shamed and buried deep down,
Mm,
uh, including the fuckboy energy in me. So the leaky sexual boundaries. of using sexual energy to get other people's attention, I realize now that I am with someone that we can build secure attachment with when we go in public, a part of me is scared that I'm not getting attention from other men anymore because I'm in partnership, because
Mm-hmm.
now I'm taken. So does that mean that like my ego doesn't necessarily like that?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, but then how can I generate the sense of still adventure and freedom, and also uh, that I have enough attention without the unhealthy mechanisms, but find healthier strategies to meet those
Mm-hmm.
unconscious needs that now I'm becoming conscious of.
Yeah. I, that's that's super advanced. And I mean, you also mentioned that, there are certain things that you love to like kinkify, gamify, and I mean, I was, yeah, just reflecting and having a partner who's able to hold those like, edgy thoughts and shadows when you share them, and actually you having the courage to share them, and your partner being able to hold them without trying to solve them, but just, in loving presence, receiving them, and then thinking of, okay, how can we, use existential kink or any other mechanisms to make them juicy? Because, we're humans and we're not just one, we are so many different parts. And many of them want to be seen, and some want to be seen in an unhealthy way. Because otherwise, yeah, as you said, they're feeling repressed, they want to be seen, so they come out with a lot of force. And yeah, having a secure partner with whom you can explore that in like a safe environment, conscious environment. Oof, where's the green flag?
That is, and at the same time, like I can totally see how I build this for myself through being that person and showing up in relationships
Oh,
like
yeah.
with you and in all my friendships in this way. Long before someone could meet me like that, I met myself like
Mm,
that. And I, carried that standard into all my relationships. Like, this is what we do. And that's gonna scare some people
mm,
away or send some people away
yeah.
because they're not into the authentic relating, radical honesty, shadow work type of lifestyle that we have. But that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, for me, this is what turns me on.
Yeah. And then thank you, universe, for sending you, this. I just love this expression, the fuck boy final boss. Best word I've heard for a long time. So yeah, thank you for sending them your way so you can practice like, and you can like practice your new skills, like break old patterns, and then be proud of yourself for, yeah, for choosing a different path. And
Yeah.
yeah, calling him the final boss is obviously great because it just means, hey, you broke that pattern, and the universe will stop sending those guys your way, as immediately the universe sent you another guy who's not that, um, the next day. So I think that's just like, we also talked about intuition. That's like
Hmm.
the combination of what is your boundary, feeling your boundary in your body, expressing it, trusting your intuition, and also trusting that the universe rewards when people are true to themselves and not
Totally.
feeling, you were mentioning like about the permanence and impermanence of relationships, like needing a relationship to function, and then pouring all your heart into it, even though your intuition may have already told you this is not it, but you keep pouring love into it. And then at some point you're just like, okay, it's gonna break, but you could have just listened to your intuition and saved yourself heartbreak and maybe some years also. And I'm pretty sure many people might recognize themselves in this kind of relationship pattern. And like we talked about intuition earlier, about how we when we grow up, we gaslight ourselves into not trusting our intuition for whatever reasons. Because our parents said this kind of thing is okay, but we feel very unsafe and we feel very uncomfortable. Our intuition is telling us to do something else, but the parents said something else, or society expects you to be a certain way, or whatever it may be. So many reasons to not trust your intuition. And yeah, that's just, that's a really tough one to break out of.
Well, it can be a hard pill to swallow, but for me, it's like the moment you decide to really take self-responsibility and accept that other people can only gaslight you to the extent that you were gaslighting yourself, which is
Mm,
systemic. It's systemic, like you were saying, our society was based on gaslighting ourselves and not
yeah,
listening to our intuition
totally.
and being overly identified with the mind while ignoring the emotions. And now it's like, okay, we know a better way. We know that intuition is using the mind in connection with the emotion and the body so that we take emotion as valuable input, like what it is sensors that tell us what's going on in our environment and what feels good and doesn't, what we should go towards
Mm,
and walk away from in a rational way, using the higher mind to be discerning about uh, our emotions, not pushing them away, not believing the whole story that the pattern in the body or in the mind tells, but like, okay, like questioning, just being curious. And I loved how you put that when you were telling me about your arguments in your relationship, that you just got really curious. You saw there's a shadow, a mental pattern in you, an old story of drama, and you were just, where is this coming from? You know?
mm-hmm,
And then for me, the next question is, okay, where is this coming from? I understand it, so I can feel safe. Now, what does it need? How do I meet that need? And once the need is met, like how do I shift this into playfulness? Because to be able to be playful and to kinkify something, first you need to feel safe. It's okay.
mm-hmm.
You meet the need and then you can feel safe to play with whatever thing this is. And yeah, in my case, it was the fear of commitment and also the fear because yeah, it's mostly like the vulnerability that we enter a deep relationship and romantic sexual relationships make us feel that the deepest. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, to enter that feeling, yeah, I don't know, I guess you can sum it up as be scared and do it anyway. Like courage is at the other side of
Yeah,
fear.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's yeah, that feels really true to me as well. Um, yeah, something comes to mind when I hear that, and that's like there is this fear of connection and of intimacy that I have, and just yeah, it's easier to create an argument and to step away and to be on my own again, and yeah, it feels a lot easier than to constantly face what I also I'm in my shadows and my traumas and where I'm constantly reminded, oh, I'm not perfect. Oh, I have this thing to work on. Oh, and there's another thing that comes up. Oh, and another thing that comes up. And I'm like, wow, when I was single, it was a lot easier. But I was also not reaching the kind of depth. So I do choose a partnership, and it's scary AF.
Yeah,
Um, because it's not just relating with the other, it's also relating with self in like a very intense way because it just
exactly.
things just keep coming up. I was not even like so many blind spots I was not aware of just keep showing up. And I think that kind of goes back into the original question or the original theme of this new moon is like how we nurture ourselves in
For a
that and
relationship.
in a relationship. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do I nurture a relationship with others, but also how do I nurture myself in a relationship? Um, I think that's also a theme for me because I notice when I'm feeling nourished and full, I don't feel triggered as often. I don't, yeah, I just like communicate from the heart a lot more than from scared places where it takes so much courage to move past. Um, but yeah, it's confronting me with a lot of fears. Um, so yeah, I think the question is how to nurture myself, how to nurture my courage to, feel the fear and do it anyways. And yeah, it's kind of what I wish for everyone in this new moon phase. I think you said it beautifully. Yeah.
Thank you, love.
Mm.
I appreciate you a lot. Like, speaking with you always leaves me very inspired because I think you have way more courage and like virtue, and you're doing way better than what you give yourself credit for. Like, I'm always really impressed by how maturely you deal with stuff in your relationship. It's really a reference for me. Uh, and yeah, relationships are for me the ultimate like spiritual test or training ground, especially romantic relationships. So for me, it's a spiritual practice to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And what really helps with nourishment, I think rethinking a lot like relational schemes of monogamy versus polyamory and like how open a relationship needs to be or is optimal for me, where to draw the boundaries of the relational agreement so that it feels really nourishing. Because another thing, another shadow of cancer and of relationships in our society, especially as women, is we were taught to glorify romantic relationships and monogamy. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying that polyamory is the solution to everything, but to having like having a network of significant relationships and emotional intimacy with several people, not just one person. I still consider myself sexually monogamous, but like especially the emotional and sensual intimacy of being able to also receive like cuddles and physical support and a hug and from more people than just your partner. That's really
Mm-hmm.
important, I think, for most humans
Mm-hmm.
because we exist in relationship. And again, like having the expectation that one person will meet all our relational needs or even most of them is just unrealistic.
Completely agree. Love to do yeah, an episode on polyamory and like what it, the different nuances. There's so many, like the variety is just so huge. And yeah, just the expectation of society and what that does, especially for women. I guess we can speak mostly or we can speak only from our women's experience. But what it does to women to grow up in naturally monogamous societies is just like it's really crazy that like love is a scarce resource and we can only give it to one person. And like it's very easy for me to say that, and I truly believe that in my mind that it isn't. Love is infinite, obviously. But then I feel challenged in my partnership. Yeah, I feel challenged, I feel jealous when I see that in practice. When I see my partner with other human beings, things come up. I think we've explored that already in a podcast, but I would love to explore this theme of polyamory and monogamy and what society tells us is the right thing versus how do we like again how do we reconcile mind and body, what how do we know what's right for us, how do we create the right environment for us to thrive. And maybe it's something in between. Maybe it's, sexual monogamy, emotional polyamory, or sensual polyamory. And yeah, I have like a desire to normalize relationship, other relationship containers, let's call them. than just polyamory. There's so much in between, so much. And yeah, I find it very fascinating,
Me
human
too.
relating in general. But yeah, that
Yeah,
for sure, even more.
totally. And combinations
Mm.
are infinite, and in a way, we're making it up as we go because relationships are constantly evolving. And I really loved the reflection that we sort of made together uh, about this relationship drama that a lot of these things, when they happen in friendship, we don't get so hung up about them. Or the answer is much clearer. Like, if this person was my best friend,
Mm-hmm.
how would I behave? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so using that as a comparison for also romantic relationships, because I believe that the basis for a long-term relationship of any kind, even a business one, is really friendship, is l- cherishing the person for who they are and genuinely wanting the best
Mm-hmm.
for them. Uh, so yeah, like how would that go down with your best friend? And also, like, how we treat ourselves many times is so unkind. So like treat yourself and everyone else as if they were your best friend, basically.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's just an issue that humans have. Like the way they treat themselves is not the way they would treat anybody else. But yeah, definitely.
Or,
I
if
think
you
that's
want to beat yourself up, kinkify it, make it fun. Like humiliate yourself, like, you bitch, you did that again. I'm gonna spank you, you bad woman.
oof. Didn't you say you know someone who makes vloggers now?
What? Say that again.
You know someone who makes vloggers now, don't you? So that would be perfect for me to just flog
Exactly.
myself when I beat myself up.
Okay, we can commission a flogger for your birthday present.
Ooh, yeah, now we're talking. Okay. Yeah, I'm reflecting on my birthday presents now. Oh, that's a good one.
Birthday present idea. Floggers. Handmade
Mm.
floggers.
Mm. Yes, dear. Whew. Wow.
Yeah, that was a lot. But yeah, I think we leave with some more clarity here for ourselves. Do you also feel that?
Mhm. Truly, I'm just amazed what has come up, and especially this what you put words to my feeling of, when just in the body, suddenly you just know this is true.
Yeah.
And when I spoke out loud earlier, what I spoke out loud earlier, I just immediately felt, wow, that was true. Ooh, creating drama so I can, yeah, hurl something back at my partner for something that has been building up inside of me and that I have not communicated. So yeah, oof,
Hmm. Hmm.
that feels,
Yeah.
and yeah, and now using a homemade flogger to flog myself. And mm, mm. I'll
Nice.
tell you in the next episode how that goes.
Please tell me how that goes because yeah, it's
Mhm.
like giving ourselves permission to also fuck up and to extend ourselves grace and forgiveness like we would
Yeah.
with someone else. Another thing, by the way, that I did that was super vulnerable this week, I was supposed to be in a retreat right now, helping out. But I showed up there and I
Mm.
started feeling super tired and I wasn't sleeping well. So on the second day of the retreat, I decided I wanted to leave, but I had committed to stay
Mm.
and to help be part of the team. So I initially started beating myself up. Like, no, you need to follow, like, stay true to your words, follow through with your commitments. And then I was like, I'm gonna stop choosing others over myself. Like, I'm gonna really prioritize myself. And it
Mhm.
took some time to accept that because it made me feel really selfish and really vulnerable to go. talk to the retreat leaders and also the people in the retreat, saying, "Hey, no, I'm just gonna leave because I'm feeling unwell. Like I'm a human, I'm weak, I'm tired, I have vulnerabilities as well. Instead of performing all the time for everyone, for once, I'm gonna
Mm,
say no, and that I need some time off and I need to do less instead of more." I did that.
mhm,
It was hard, it was vulnerable, but then, like, the reward when we go, when we embrace those tender sides of ourselves, the reward at the other side is just, you feel authentic. And when you really feel authentic, like then people can meet you there. So
mm,
people were actually very supportive, and that felt super healing for me. Like, yeah, sure, like if you're not feeling well and you need to go back home, go. Like we can figure it out. Then, of course,
mm,
there was still a process of dealing with some practicalities, but yeah, so many times I feel like most of the friction in relationships just comes from us not accepting ourselves. So if you can
mhm,
give yourself full permission to be like a dramatic beach inside of yourself and let the character come
mhm,
out in a playful way.
mhm. That's cool. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's the kind of containers that I love, where I can where I can play with that and where my partner meets me in that. And oh, that just turns me on. Like playing with shadows and oh, yeah, exactly what you were just describing is exactly what I love, exploring that in a fun way and yeah, kinkifying it. Just, ugh. Mm.
Same, which is why I love you so much and why we're doing this
Mhm.
podcast. And we could speak about
Absolutely,
this
yeah.
forever. But yeah, another thing that's coming through for me, like as a conclusion, is to romanticize more friendship
Mm, mhm,
and relationships, to really romanticize it all. Like to kinkify and romanticize and fall in love with all of it.
mm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, totally. And it's so funny. My favorite author, Elizabeth Gilbert, she wrote Eat, Pray, Love, which, whatever. I love this woman. And she wrote in her newsletter also this week, she lost her lifelong partner, I think, to cancer maybe 10 years ago. And she said, I will never love someone like that ever again. She said it at the time when her partner was diagnosed with cancer and everyone was telling her, "No, you're going to be fine. You'll find someone, you'll love like that again." And she chose celibacy after her partner died. So she's been celibate for, I don't know, 8 years. And she said, but what I said at the time that I wouldn't love anyone again the way I loved my partner, that was not true. I have loved so many other people at the depth of the love that I had for my partner, friends, family. Um, yeah, that she feels really grateful that, yeah, not romantically, not sexually, but she has romanticized her friendships and her connections with, yeah, people who are not her romantic partner. And I found that so beautiful as well and so like so revolutionary in a way to break down the category, okay, you have to love the deepest your partner or your parents or your children and then your friends, but there are different, like there's no categories of friends either. It's just you're just a friend. That's it. And there's so much variety within that word as well. And then it's kind of considered weird to love your friends as much as you love your partner. And she just breaks with those standards. And I just really love her for that. And I felt that was very inspirational. Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. I love you for that.
Mm. Mm. Thank you. And I love you too. Yeah. Mm.
Hmm.
So, dear listeners, wow, this was this was quite the ride. I
Yeah.
loved how we're like live, finding out live new revelations about each other and going into, yeah, the directions that we discussed and also into completely new territory. I love the fuckboy final boss, and I'm sure many of you have experienced one of those, whether in a male or female body. And yeah, just hoping we could give you a little bit of inspiration, and we would love to hear from you. How do you nurture yourself? How do you nurture yourself in a relationship? How do you nurture your relationships? And yeah, what does this new moon in Cancer tell you, show you, teach you? What are you hoping for? Yeah, we'd love to hear from you as well. Mm.
Yes. We read your comments, reach out to us. Also, if you want like more tools to deepen your shadow work, relational skills, your intuition,
Mm-hmm.
both Kaya and I have quite a lot to offer in that sense. So don't hesitate to reach out also in private. We're always happy to
Absolutely.
support. And yeah, looking forward to next episode.
Likewise.
Hmm.
See you next month. And we love you too. And yeah, enjoy this new moon.
Enjoy. And thank you for being here with us always. Hmm.